My wife and I decided to go away for our 5th anniversary. Nothing fancy, just a couple hours worth of drive, somewhere peaceful and away from the city. This was a big thing for my wife. After a traumatic event when she was a teenager, she was very hesitant to leave any space where she felt safe. When we purchased our house, she did a near insane amount of research on the property. And not even just the property itself, but the surrounding homes and neighborhood. Had anyone been killed nearby? Any unexplained disappearances? Any known association with cults? Regardless, her happiness and safety meant a lot to me, so I let her give it her all and helped in whatever way she asked. For this trip, I relied on several review sites before I finally settled. It was a nice camping ground located within a park. It had cabins. All the reviews described it as cute, clean, and friendly. To be honest, if I hadn't seen the same reviews on several different websites, I probably would have called it almost too good to be true. Escaping the city after work, we arrived at the park in the late evening and checked in at the main office. After getting our key and directions, we drove down a tree-lined dirt road until we saw a post marking the path to cabin 13. "Well, it's nice and private," I said. "Looks like the last one of this row." My wife got out of the car and took a deep breath. "You really can tell the difference in the air." She cast an apprehensive glance down the path to the cabin. "You researched this place, right?" "Of course," I said with a laugh. "I wouldn't drag you out here before making sure it was a winner." She gave me a warm smile. "It's just that it kind of has that whole cabin in the woods vibe." "Don't worry, there won't be any axe-wielding maniacs, just your crazy wife." We got our bags out of the car and carried them down 4 steps and then along a boardwalk to the front of the cabin. I opened the screen door, which gave a satisfying, stereotypical creak. I unlocked the door with the key from the front desk and pushed it open. The dark logs that made up the exterior were also visible on the interior. The first floor was an open concept with a small kitchen, sitting area, and a bed. A set of stairs led up to a loft. Up there was a larger bed, a rocking chair, and a balcony that overlooked the lower floor. "Hey, do you want to sleep up here or down there?" I called down. My wife dropped our bags and came up the stairs. She shuddered and rubbed her bare arms. "Whew, it feels colder up here." She cast a nervous glance around the space. "It feels kind of heavy up here. Are you okay if we sleep downstairs?" I wrapped her up in my arms. "That's totally fine. The point is to relax. If you'd feel better downstairs, then that's what we should do." Since it was already late, we decided to leave our unpacking until the next morning. The bed was surprisingly comfortable, and it took little time before I fell asleep. I woke up sometime in the middle of the night. I laid there, watching my wife sleep. It relaxed me watching her be so peaceful, so vulnerable. She murmured in her sleep, a name I've heard countless times in conversation and in her dreaming. One tied to fear and trauma. The first time I heard her say his name in her sleep, I felt hurt. Until she told me the story. I understood then how that would haunt you forever. And how, if not for a twist of fate, he would be lying here instead of me. I would always be second place. How could anyone compete with the dead? 5 years of being in a shadow. 5 years of dealing with every anxiety, fear, and obsessiveness that bastard left behind. And for what? To hear only his name come from her lips when she sleeps? I gasped. My head throbbed as if something was clamping down on it like a vice. She shifted, the sheets falling from her shoulders, her slender neck exposed and pale in the darkness. A beacon calling for my hands to wrap around and I spun away from her and off the bed, my hands pressing hard into my skull. As I turned, I glanced the balcony above us and froze. While I couldn't make out any details, a shadowy, humanoid figure stared down at me. Even in the dark cabin, its shape stood out. It wasn't just a mass of darkness, it was a void, devouring the smallest shred of light. I swallowed hard and pushed back against what I now realized must be something else's thoughts invading my own, and shook my wife's shoulder. "Claire, you need to wake up. We need to leave." She turned over, sleep and confusion dulling her movements. "What?" "We need to leave. There's a shadow here." Her eyes instantly shot open as my words pushed through her drowsy state. She said nothing, staring at me wide-eyed, and just gave her head a firm nod. We flew from the loft, grabbing our thankfully not yet unpacked bags. I pressed Claire ahead of me. Before she cleared the cabin's door, I crumpled to the floor, the pressure in my head slamming against me like a fist. Needles of pain arced along my arms and legs as though fishhooks were digging in, making me a puppet to be manipulated. Claire stopped at the door. "Taylor!" "Go," I cried. "You need to get out." I felt the thirst for her blood pulsing through me. I knew if she came near, I would do anything to feel that sticky wetness in my hands. She turned and ran out. I soon heard the car door slamming shut. As soon as it was clear that she had escaped, the pressure in my head, all of those horrible thoughts and desires fled. As if it was no longer worth the thing's time if it couldn't watch the show. I hazarded a glance towards the balcony, but whatever had been there was gone. Joining Claire in the car, I drove us to a nearby motel where we spent the night. In the morning, with the sun high in the midday sky, we returned to the cabin. I went in alone, gathered our remaining things, and left. I had always wished the traumatic event in Claire's past hadn't happened. I thought it was a barrier to us being free and happy. But without that trauma programming her reactions and her planting the knowledge of those darkest shadows within me, she would be dead, and I would be her killer.
We have been researching this ghost story, looking at this cabin for a possible investigation for a long time. And we're finally going to set foot inside here, and we're finally going to be staying inside this cabin to see if the stories are true.